गुड मॉर्निंग स्टूडेंट्स। आज हम लोग का शेड्यूल टाइम थोड़ा सा चेंज हो गया है। आज आफ्टरनून 4:30 के बदले क्लास अभी ले रही हूँ और सब्जेक्ट भी थोड़ा हट कर है। हर बार का हमारा सब्जेक्ट साइंस या मैथ्स होता था, लेकिन इस बार हम लोग सोशल की तैयारी करें। मैंने देखा है काफ़ी सारे बच्चे सिर्फ साइंस और मैथ्स में ही इंटरेस्ट पे करते हैं और वो सोशल को काफ़ी दूर रखते हैं। अगर परसेंटेज लेना चाहते हो 10th स्टैंडर्ड में तो सभी सब्जेक्ट्स को इक्वल इम्पोर्टेंस देना बहुत ज़रूरी है। तो आज हम लोग ये सोशल का एक सिंपल सा चैप्टर ले लें, सेक्टर्स ऑफ इंडियन इकोनॉमी। सेक्टर्स ऑफ इंडियन इकोनॉमी, पहले इस चैप्टर का जो चेकलिस्ट है, हमको इस चैप्टर में क्या क्या पढ़ना है, तो पहले उसके बारे में डिस्कस कर लें। सबसे पहले ये जो चैप्टर है हमारा वो रिलेटेड है सेक्टर्स ऑफ इंडियन सेक्टर्स ऑफ इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटीज़। ठीक है, व्हाट आर इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटीज़? एक्टिविटीज़ विच जनरेट economy are called economic activities. So where we are earning are called economic activities. So economic activities are divided into three categories. So first one is primary sector, secondary sector, tertiary sector. Indian sectors are divided into three sectors: primary sector, secondary sector and tertiary sector. In this chapter we are going to cover out with the economic interdependence. So how we are interdepending, like how the sectors are interdependent on each other. And the third one, so here the first we are starting with the chapters checklist. Today we are going to start out sectors of Indian economy, chapter 2, economics. So here the main things which we need to cover out: different sectors, primary sector, secondary sector, tertiary sector, then economic interdependence, how each sector is interrelated, then comparing the sectors. Okay, how we are comparing these sectors depending on gross domestic product, depending on GDP, how the sectors are interrelated, and then historical change in the sector. So what we got change in the sectors in the previous years in different decades. Primary, secondary and tertiary sectors in India, where are most of the people employed? So in which sector employment is more among all the three sectors? Next, how to create employment, technical and institutional measure, improvement in rural infrastructure. So what are the different improvements we are getting in the rural infrastructures? And division of sectors, that is organized and unorganized sectors. And finally, sectors in terms of ownership, public, that is whether it is public sector or private sector or joint sector. We are going to deal out with all these things in this chapter. So most probably this is the last few days where you are having the revisions. All of you are familiar with the primary sector, secondary sector and tertiary sector. So the first of all, economic activities can be classified in the three different ways. That is, they can be either primary, secondary and tertiary sector, or organized or unorganized sector, public or private sector. So we need to concentrate on these three topics. So let's start out with the primary sector. Primary sector of the economy involves conversion of natural resources into primary product. So here, when there is conversion of natural resources to primary products, we call it as primary sector. So what is primary sector? Primary sector is a sector where there is conversion of natural resources into final product. Few minutes only, let me adjust out with camera properly. Okay. So here, हाँ, रॉ मटेरियल वगैरह हम लोग बाद में डिस्कस करें, पहले बस मतलब प्राइमरी सेक्टर के बारे में देख लें, तो बुक को थोड़ा सा मैं रोटेट कर लेती हूँ ताकि तुम लोगों को, अच्छा इसमें भी अच्छे से नहीं दिख रहा है ना, पूरा कवर नहीं हो रहा है आई थिंक। हाँ बेटर, पहले से तो बेटर है, दिख रहा है। सो हियर primary sector of the economy involves conversion of natural resources into primary product. These includes agriculture, forestry, fishing, mining, and extraction of oil and gas. So what is primary sector? Primary sector is a part of the sector which involves the conversion of natural resources. Okay, when the natural resources are being converted into primary product, we call it as primary sector. These activities are directly associated with the nature. So they are directly related to nature. For the cultivation of cotton, so if we take the example of cotton, so here we depend mainly on the natural factor like rainfall, sunshine, and climate. In dairy industry, we depend on biological process of the animal and availability of the fodder. Okay, how the food is available for the animals. For mineral and ores, we depend upon the mines. Since most of the natural products are obtained from agriculture, dairy, fishing, forestry, etc., it is also called agricultural and related sector. So this can be one more question. Why the primary sector is called agriculture or related sector? Because here most of the products we get directly or indirectly from the nature, from the agriculture, dairy or fishing or forestry. So we call it as agricultural or related sector. Next one, secondary sector. Secondary sector of the economy or the industrial sector includes those economic activity that create a finished tangible product. So here the finished product are there. So this includes manufacturing and construction. So here the finished products are used. So it includes manufacturing, and here the natural products are changed into other form through manufacturing, which may take place in the factory, workshop, or at home. Example, if the yarn is prepared from the cotton for clothes, it may take place in the weaving from the cotton, or sugar or gur from the sugar cane, etc. Since the development in the secondary sector becomes associated with the different kinds of industries, it is also called industrial sector. So here the next question can be, why the secondary sector is called industrial sector? Here the primary product related to primary product are being manufactured in the factories or workshop. So as the finished products we are getting from the factories, we call it as industrial sector. Why the primary sector is called agriculture sector or related sector? Because here the products we are getting directly or indirectly from the agriculture, which are being processed. So it is called agriculture sector. Here the products are being finished in factories or workshops. So it is called industrial sector, secondary sector. Now coming to the third sector, which is tertiary sector. Now, what is tertiary sector? The activities that help in development of primary and secondary sectors are covered in tertiary sector. The activities that help in development of primary and secondary sectors. Tertiary sector, these activities do not produce goods, but they provide service that support the production process. Okay, here tertiary sector which interconnect primary and secondary. अभी प्राइमरी सेक्टर के जो रॉ मटेरियल्स है हमको फैक्ट्री तक पहुंचाने हैं, तो फैक्ट्री तक कैसे पहुंचेंगे? उसके लिए हमको ट्रांसपोर्टेशन का रिक्वायरमेंट है। जो फिनिश प्रोडक्ट्स हो गए उसको स्टोर करने के लिए स्टोर हाउस चाहिए, तो जो वो है वो स्टोरेज एक्टिविटीज़ में आ गया। तो ये सारे जो एक्टिविटीज़ जो प्राइमरी और सेकेंडरी सेक्टर्स को इंटरकनेक्ट करते हैं, दोज आर कॉल्ड टर्शरी सेक्टर्स. Okay, service sector also includes some essentials, so these are called service sectors. So here they can ask like, why the tertiary sector is called service sector? Since the activities generate service rather than goods, so they are providing service to primary and secondary sectors, so they are called service sectors. Once again repeating, primary sector is called agriculture or related sector as it uses agricultural product. Why the secondary sector is called industrial sector because the products are being manufactured in industry. And the third one, tertiary sector. Why the tertiary sector is called service sector? Because it provides service to primary and secondary sector. Clear? Vivek, any difficulty here? Okay, now coming to the third one, economic interdependence. What is economic interdependence? There are various linkages between sectors. Trade and transport establish a link between the producer and a consumer. So here there is a link between excuse me, there is a link between trade and transport. As the link is established between the producers and consumers, for example, chemical fertilizer produced in secondary sector are consumed in the primary sector. Now, the chemicals like the fertilizers which are used in agriculture, agriculture is a primary sector. As they are interlinked, so we call there is a economic interdependence. Interdependence means each sector is interrelated. Primary sector is depending on secondary sector where it needs some things to be manufactured in factory, then there has to be transported via transportation, tertiary sector, and tertiary sector will not work if there is no primary and secondary sector, and secondary sector is not needed if there is no primary sector. Thus we can say that there is economic interdependence where each and every sector is interrelated. In turn, farmers buy the goods produced in secondary sector and these use service of the tertiary sector. You can give an example and you can explain this like how they are interdependent. Now, comparison of the three sectors. The three sectors produce large number of goods and services. It is difficult to add the production level of each sector as the sector also interdependent. To solve this problem, economists suggest that the final value of goods and services be taken to see the production level and draw comparison among the sectors. Final goods and services are directly consumed by the consumers and not meant for the further production or processing. So here, how the comparison is done between primary, secondary and tertiary sector. So it is very difficult, like each sector is interdependent. So we compare them depending on the final goods and services. Now, for example, by counting the value of biscuits, we will also get the value of flour from which the biscuit is made and value of the wheat from which the flour is made. Therefore, the biscuit is the final goods and its value will not be counted to find the production level. Value of intermediate goods are not counted. So you need to like how the comparison is done. With this example, you can explain like the comparison is done by counting the final goods and services, not the intermediate product. For example, if we count the value of the biscuits, to get the value, we can get the value of flour, like how much flour is used to prepare that and how much wheat is consumed during that. So here the intermediate products are not counted, only the final products are counted. Next important question is, what is GDP? The sum of the value of all final goods and services produced in all the three sectors in a particular year is called gross domestic production, GDP of the country. Very important question. What is GDP? Gross domestic production of a country. That is, what is the total sum of the final goods? What is the value of all final goods and services? Okay, produced in all the three sectors. All the three sectors, that is primary sector, secondary sector and tertiary sector. What is the final production is done in complete year in a country is called gross domestic product of that country. Mark out this is very important definition you need to learn. Now GDP indicates the size of the economy of a country. So how the economy of the country, whether it is strong or weak, that we calculate with the help of GDP. It is the market value of the final goods and services produced by all sectors. If a country is having more GDP, means economically strong. Now the task of estimating the GDP in India is undertaken by Central Statistical Office. CSO. For MCQ, you need to remember who takes the task of GDP calculation in our country. So it is undertaken by Central Statistical Office, working under the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. Now this department collect information related to total volume of the goods and services with the price to estimate the GDP. So they will calculate with the help of what is the total volume produced and what is the total consumption. Now we are starting with the next topic, historical change in sectors. So how the historical change took place. In the developed countries have gone through historical change in economic sector. So I'm starting out with this topic, historical change. In the developed countries have gone through historical change in the economic sector as the economic activities had gradually shifted from primary to secondary to tertiary sector. So here we can notice like in the olden days, people were mostly engaged in primary sector. So most of them were farmers, mostly engaged in agriculture. But now the shift has got started where they shifted to either secondary or tertiary sector. The developed countries of today were shifted the economic activity from primary to secondary sector. In the past 100 years, there has been a further shift from secondary to tertiary sector. Now the service sector has become the most important sector. So when we compare the history, before the people were engaged in primary sector, then the shift started to secondary sector. In last 100 years, the most of the people are engaged in tertiary sector. So most of the service sector is now economic sector, that is a tertiary sector. The shift of economic activity does not mean complete elimination of previous sector. So here the shift is there. We cannot say that there is the previous sector got eliminated. Means now no more are engaged in agriculture. No one are engaged in agriculture. Only service sector is there. We cannot say in that way. Okay, the shift of economic activity does not mean complete elimination of the previous sector, but the importance and dominance of next sector is increased. So what does it means? It means that now the importance has increased. Then during 1950s and 1960s, Indian economy depended on agriculture. During 1950s and 1960s, that is soon after the independence. So there was 10 years plan, and then as per that they gave importance to the agriculture sector. So agriculture and related activities were totally developed during that time. Between 1973 to 2003, there was industrialization. So there was the increase of secondary sector. The production of all three sectors has increased substantially, but most in the tertiary sector. Then ultimately tertiary sector development is more. So here till now we covered the topics like what are primary sector, secondary sector, tertiary sector, then how the sectors are interdependent. By giving example, you can explain like how the sectors are interdependent. Then what is GDP, how it is calculated. Repeating once again, GDP is calculated by CSO, Central Statistical Office, working under the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. Then next, how the historical changes take place in the sectors. Okay, now primary, secondary and tertiary sectors in India. Or let's start with the important questions of this chapter. So here, NREGA is one of the important topic, and difference between organized and unorganized sector. So here, so one of the important question is NREGA. Why do you think NREGA 2005 is referred to as right to work? Very important question. So once I'm reading, try to follow it. Why do you think NREGA 2005 is referred to as right to work? In NREGA, if the government fails in its duty to provide employment, it will give unemployment allowance to the people. So here, as per the scheme, the government was providing 100 days work to the people. Okay, if it is if the government failed to provide duty to the people, so in that sense it will be providing service allowance. So free cost salary will be given to them. So here employment, it will give unemployment allowance to the people. So it will it is in effect giving the person the right to work. So we can say that it is a type where the right person is getting right to work. Vivek, is it clear? Next, compare. So here, first question, question number 10. Compare and contrast the changes in India with the pattern that was observed for developed countries. What kind of changes between the sectors were desired but did not happen in India? Okay, they desired, they thought that this kind of changes must be there, but did not happen. So what are those? In India, both the secondary and tertiary sector are increasing at expense of primary sector. If more and more primary sector will be strong, so secondary and tertiary sector as it is directly or indirectly depending on primary. If the primary sector is strong, secondary and tertiary sector will become much more expanded. But the increase in tertiary sector is more. For India to become a strong industrialized nation, the secondary sector should have increased more. But this is not happening due to a variety of reasons. Only a small part of tertiary sector is growing in India. Large number of people engaged in service sector earn very little and have so alternative work available to them. So here a question they asked, like, compare and contrast the changes in the India with the pattern of that observed for the developed countries. What kind of changes between the sectors were desired but did not happen? So what is the desired there? There must be increase in tertiary sector. If more and more people will get engaged in tertiary sector, so tertiary sector is providing service to the other two sectors. If service tertiary sector is developed, means the people will earn more economy and the country will be highly developed. But in our country, the people are mostly engaged either in the primary sector or in the uh, tertiary sector. Secondary sector is not being developed. Okay, only a small part of tertiary sector is growing in India. So here, India, both secondary and tertiary sectors are increasing, but the increase in tertiary sector is more. For India to become strong, if it want to become strong, that is developed nation, secondary sector should be increased more. But it is not happening. Here, there is an increase in tertiary sector. Now coming to the next question. So here, imagine that you are a village head. In that capacity, suggest some activities that you think should be taken up under this act that would also increase the income of the people. That is Manrega. So here, being a village head, there are many activities that would increase the income of the people under the act. Many activities under Manrega includes first one, water conservation and water harvesting. So first act here, water conservation and water harvesting. Second one, drought proofing by digging tube wells. So here, to prevent drought, they dig more and more tube wells. Next, constructing irrigation canals to provide water to agricultural land. More and more irrigation canals are constructed, making provision of irrigation facility on the land of disadvantaged section. Excuse me. Making provisions of irrigation facility on the land of disadvantaged sections, SCs, STs and other. So here they are providing irrigation facility to the other like disadvantaged sections, SCs, STs and other. Renovation of traditional water bodies. renovation of tanks or tankas which were there in olden days. Then land development for agriculture, horticulture. So if they provide all these developments, automatically there will be development of the village, which lead to the development of city, and finally the country will get developed. So few points you can write in your own words, like water conservation or water harvesting, then drought controlling, construction of irrigation canals, then providing irrigation facility to the backward section, renovation of the traditional tanks, traditional water bodies, then land development for agriculture and horticulture, construction of the check dams. Why the check dams are constructed? To control flood, and construction of the roads for improving rural connectivity, to provide all weather access to the village. So here construction of the rural roads, so that they can have the all weather roads. Generally in the rural areas we have um, like non-metal roads which are not used during the rainy season. So thus they are planning, or during this session they are constructing the all weather roads over there. Now coming to the next question. Comparison between the working conditions of organized and unorganized sector. So what is the difference? So what is organized sector? Very important question of this chapter. The work for fixed number of hours in organized sector. Organized means which is under the government. So here what is happening? Unorganized means private sectors. Organized, which is under government. So generally what we see, the government employee, they go by fixed time, and then their timings of the return, and then lunch hours, everything is fixed. If there is any increase, they will get the increment related to that. They will be getting the bonus for that, working allowance for that. But in unorganized sector, no such fixation is there. The workers could be called for any time, and there will be like extra hours they need to work. No extra salary will be provided for that. And then for the organized sectors, holidays are fixed, and then unorganized sector, no such fixation is there. And appointment is done here by processed way. Salary fixation is there, increment will be there in the salary, whereas in unorganized sectors we don't have all those. So you can keep in mind all these points and you can make your own points. Let's read in detail now. They work for fixed number of hours every day. They get a weekly off. So here weekly off, Sundays off generally, or Sunday and Saturday off. In case extra time for doing work is required, they are paid for it at double the normal rate. If they work for extra hours, they are paid for the they are paid double for that. Here there are no fixed working hours. Usually they work longer than those in the organized sector. So no fixed hours are there, and they need to work longer than their fixed hours. Many times weekly off may not be given. So here weekly off, generally they don't have Sundays off. They call for the work by saying like some urgent work is there which to be done, and then overtime payments is usually not given, though they work for the overtime, but the payment is not given. The second point, they get salary on monthly basis, usually on a fixed day. So here generally 30 or 31st day, that month ending is calculated, and by the 30th or by 1st they will get the salary credited, whereas here no such payment is there. So they get the salary on monthly basis, usually on a fixed day every month. There is no deduction for the weekly off. So here, though the Saturdays and Sundays are off, but they don't get any kind of deduction. Absence for the work can be adjusted against leave due to an employee. So here they will be getting an like around every employee will get 12 to 13 days of leave, so which they can get adjusted. So no salary deduction is there. Here in organized sector, there is no salary deduction, and unorganized sector, salary is paid on daily wage. So they are paid for daily basis. Salary is not paid for any absence from work. If they are on leave for any of the day, including Sunday, there will be deduction. In many such jobs, like in shops, weekly off is not given. Many jobs are there where there is no weekly off. Now, an appointment letter is given at the time of employment, stating all the terms and conditions of work. So there is job security. Here we get the job security because there will be employment letter. Okay, they will be getting appointment letter, and then everything in organized way. There is job security. You can write the point in simple way. Here the job security is there. Here no job security is there, and no appointment letter is given. They can lose the employment without being given any advance notice. Without any notice, they will be removed from the job. So there is no job security. Here the first point, repeating once again, organized sector, fixed working hours, weekly off is there, no extra timings of the work. If they work for extra time, they are paid for that. Here, monthly basis salary will be given. If they get absence from the work, there is no deduction in the salary. They can adjust with the number of leaves they are having. Here, the appointment letter is provided during the joining, so thus there is a job security. Next point, the employment get benefit like provident fund, then provident fund or medical benefits. Here no such benefits are there. Workers in large factories, a clerk in office, or doctors in the hospital. Some of the examples are given which you can write in your own. So here, if you have the knowledge, you can make your own points. Question is very simple, completely depending on your understanding level. Now the next one, how would you distinguish between the organized and unorganized sector? Explain in your own words. Okay, the same like organized and unorganized work. In a simple word, workers get regular monthly salary, already we discussed. In addition to the salary, workers get several other benefits like medical benefit, paid leave, provident fund. Next, then there will be gratuity, etc. The daily working hours are fixed here. Workers are given appointment letter, so there is a job security. People enjoy security in the employment. Working conditions are very good. So as they need not to work for the long hours, working conditions are very good. Just to make the opposite of that, and you can make your own points here. So this is one of the most important question of this chapter. Difference between organized and unorganized sector. Next, explain agriculture in India is an unorganized sector. Why agriculture in India is considered as unorganized sector? So here the first point, most of the workers working in agriculture are not paid on regular basis. First point, workers are not paid on regular basis. Second point, agriculture sector face the problem of unemployment. So there is no job security. They face the unemployment. They are not given appointment letter. There is no security. There is no system of weekly off. Most of the farmers are depend on money lenders or the relatives for their loan requirements. So these are the reasons why agriculture in India is considered as unorganized sector. Okay, you can write the unorganized points. No weekly off, no regular hours of work, then no extra payment for the extra work, no job security, and then they depend on money lenders. So because of all these reasons, we can call agriculture as unorganized sector. Okay, next question. Classification of Indian activities. Classification of economic activity into primary, secondary, and tertiary, so that you can write from the starting introduction which we did. Okay, introduction part. Okay, next one is, what do you understand by disguised unemployment? Give an example each from the rural and urban areas. So this is also one of the important question. What is disguised unemployment? And give example from both rural and urban areas. So the question. Disguised unemployment occur when more people are employed for the same work than actual requirement. So when more workers are than actual need, we call it as disguised unemployment. When some of them are remote, the output will not reduce. So it will not affect the output, though the workers are remote. So in simple way, you can write that when more number of workers are there than the need, there is no effect if some of them will leave. Then we call it as disguised unemployment. Example, the family of a small farmer in the rural area work throughout the year on his field, even though all of them are not required all the time. all members of the family in an urban area work in a shop owned by them, even though all may not be required for the whole day. So here they have given the two different examples here. Like in agriculture, if suppose it is a small family from a rural area, then though everyone are not needed for the work, but all of the family members will work on the family land. And the same way in an urban area, if a shop is owned by a person, all the family members work there, even though there is no requirement of everyone. If one of them is removed, then also there will not be any effect on the work. So writing the definition and example, you can give in your own words. Next one, difference between open unemployment and disguised unemployment. So what is open unemployment? The open unemployment is an unemployment which visible and seen that some of the people who want to work but don't have the work. So what is called open unemployment? Open unemployment is nothing but the simple unemployment. Okay, so here where, okay, so I'm unable to make you to see this answer. So rotating in this way, it's quite opposite. You just rotate your phone to see. Open unemployment is the unemployment which is visible. So here unemployment is visible and seen that some of the people want to work, but they are not getting any kind of employment, any kind of work. Such as, for such example, educated unemployment. So many people will be educated. They want to have the white collar job. Sometimes the people feel like their qualification is more compared to the work given to them. So they feel like instead of having a low qualified job, so better I'll sit without doing any work. Okay, so in that sense, we can call that this is an open unemployment. Now, disguised unemployment is a situation when some people are underemployed. They only divided the labor effort without any effective contribution to the growth of the sector. So here more labors are there, but there is no effective growth in the sector. They are mostly found in primary sector. So already we took the example like if a family land is owned by the family members, then all the family members will work together, though there is no need to have the work, but everyone will work. So thus, if the number of workers is reduced, then also there is no effect in the output. Now, disguised unemployment is more harmful than the open unemployment because it often cannot disguised unemployment is more harmful than the open unemployment because it often cannot be properly addressed due to hidden nature, and the potential of the human resources cannot be tapped. So here, which one is more dangerous, disguised or open unemployment? Disguised unemployment is more dangerous because here the work of the person cannot be calculated. Now the next one, Vivek, are you getting everything? Or you want me to repeat anything else? Vivek, any difficulty? Now the next important question, Vivek, I'm not getting any response from you. Are you there? Vivek, are you there? Okay. So here, how are the activities in the economy classified on the basis of employment condition? So depending on employment condition, how they are classified. So here, how are the activities in the economy? So activities in the economy are classified as organized sector and organized. Here the employment is classified on organized and unorganized sector. Already we discussed, so you can write, once again I'm repeating the question, how are the activities in economy classified on the basis of employment condition? On the basis of employment condition, they are classified into two categories, organized sector and unorganized sector. Then you'll be writing about that. So what is organized sector? Organized sector covers those enterprises or the places of work where the terms of employment are regular. So they will be getting regular employment, and therefore the people have assured work, that surety, they have security of the job. then they are registered by the government and have to follow the rules and regulations which are given in various laws such as Factories Act, Minimum Wage Act, or the payment, or so all these like simple acts which they are. So this answer you can write in your own word. Already we discussed. Like now the next question, explain the objective of implementing the NREGA 2005. So what is the main objective of NREGA? The objective of implementing the NREGA 2005, this scheme targets the scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, and the poor women of rural area who suffer from poverty. So this program was started for SCs, STs, and poor women. To provide livelihood to the people below the poverty line, the scheme guarantees 100 days of wage employment in a year to every rural household in the country. So what is NREGA? As per this program, 100 days work is provided to the every rural family. If they fail to provide the employment, they will be providing wages related to that. The third point, the Gram Panchayat after proper verification will register household. So there will be proper verification and they will register how many people are there. The job cards is the legal document that entitle a person to ask for work under the act and to get work within 15 days. So after the registration is done, the person will be provided with a registration card. So as per that card, he can legally ask for legally ask for the work, where he will be provided work within the 15 days of the demand for work, and failing which an unemployment allowance would be payable. If suppose the person is not provided with the work, he will be paid allowance, unemployment allowance. So here you need to write 3 points. Write any 2 points about the NREGA 2005. So what is NREGA? Here the work is provided to SCs, STs, and rural women. And the second one, to provide the livelihood to the people who are below poverty line. This scheme was started where they will be providing 100 days of work, 100 days of wages employment in the year to every rural household. Now the next one, the Gram Panchayat after proper verification will be enrolling the people. If then they will be providing work within the 15 days of the enrollment. If they fail to provide the work, they will give working allowance. So here the 3 points got completed. Now the next important question is difference between public sector and private sector. So what is public sector and what is private sector? Public sector, the main aim of this sector is public welfare. Private sector, the main aim to get maximum profit. Okay, private profit. It is controlled and managed by the government. Public sector is managed by government, whereas the whereas the private sector, it is managed by individual or group of individuals. This sector provides basic facilities. So public sector provides basic facility like education, health, food, and security to the people. Okay, private sector, public sector which is providing basic security to the people like education, health, and food security. Example, Indian Railways, Post Office, BSNL, all these are public sector. Whereas the private sector, the sector provides consumer goods to the people. What is private sector? Which provides consumer goods to the people. Example is Tisco. Now the next one, few examples of public sector so that you can write. In 2014, they asked, how does the public sector contribute in developing nation? How the public sector contribute in developing nation? It was asked in 2015. And one question they can ask like calculate the GDP. How to calculate GDP? Okay, many more important questions are there in the chapter. Around 10 more questions are there. So here, how does the public sector contributed in developing nation? or explain any three importance of public sector in our society. So first point, improving infrastructure. So here the first point is improving infrastructure. Economic development depends upon the creation of basic infrastructure such as power, transportation, communication, irrigation, education, etc. Public sector enterprises can arrange the large investment necessary for economy. So here the first point, how the public sector is beneficial for the society. Okay, it provides improvement in infrastructure. Economic development depends on creation of basic infrastructure. So if there is economic development, basic infrastructure is needed. That is power, transportation, communication, irrigation, education. So it is providing all the basics necessity to improve the infrastructure. Second point, export promotion. Large number of public enterprises have been set up to promote India's export. To promote India's export, a large number of public enterprises are set up. Reduction in regional disparities. Government set up industries in underdeveloped regions to reduce and overcome regional disparities. So regional disparities means some of the states are very forward in terms of economy. Some of the states are very backward. So here it will be providing equality among the states where the development is done to underdeveloped states. Next question, how can the workers of unorganized sector be protected? Unorganized sector workers protected. We can explain about the 3 points here. By providing proper wages, safety and health. Okay, here wages, they are low and not regular. So there is no provision for the overtime paid leaves. So how the unorganized sectors be protected? So once I'm reading the answer, the unorganized sector is characterized by small or scattered units which are largely outside the control of the government. There is no provision for overtime. So the same answer you can write like, so why they are unhealthy? Because no wages are fixed, no safety is there, no security is there, and health. Long working hours are there, and unhygienic working environment which adversely affects the health of the person. Now I'll be discussing with the important questions like which can be mostly asked in the exam. Out of this chapter, write the main provision of NREGA. Vivek, can you say answer? Write the main provision for NREGA. GDP definition we already discussed. Okay, what is GDP? That is very important. GDP is the calculation of the total population in a country or the state within a time period. Normally a year. It is calculation of values of all final goods and services within a year. So how many goods or services are provided within a year? Provide NREGA ka, हाँ, very good. NREGA का आंसर वही है, provide 100 days employment. If the government fails to provide employment, they will provide working allowance. Okay, ये GDP वाला एक आंसर important है. What type of goods and services are included for the calculation of GDP? All final goods and services are included. Question पूछा है, what type of goods are included? Answer है, all final goods and services are included for GDP. Next, ये already कर लिया है, तुमको आ जाएगा. Why is the primary sector also called agriculture sector? Agriculture or related sector? Because they get the products directly from the nature, like agriculture, dairy, fishing, forestry. फिर next है, what do you mean by tertiary sector? वो भी तुम कर सकते हो खुद से. Give an example of tertiary in unorganized sector. Give an example of tertiary sector which is unorganized. Micro transportation, auto rickshaw, all those are tertiary unorganized. So next, in which sector Are the terms of employment regular? Say answer fast. In which sector the terms of employment are regular? In which sector terms of employment are regular? Will you say answer? Okay, organized. Very good. Okay, now the next one. Why does the disguised unemployment not help to enhance the productivity of the country? अपने वर्ड्स में लिख सकते हो. डिस्क्यूज्ड अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट मतलब जितना हमको वर्कर्स चाहिए उससे ज़्यादा नंबर के वर्कर्स हैं, तो कम से भी जो काम होने वाला है उसके लिए ज़्यादा लोग वहाँ पे एम्प्लॉय हो रहे हैं, तो इसलिए अगर कुछ वर्कर्स वहाँ से कम हो जाते हैं तो भी आउटपुट पे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. सो दस इट इज़ नॉट प्रोवाइडिंग एनी एनहांसमेंट टू द प्रोडक्टिविटी ऑफ द कंट्री. फिर उसके बाद है नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. ऑल ऑफ द 3 सेक्टर्स ऑफ इकोनॉमी आर इंटरडिपेंडेंट. ये भी हमने किया है, सभी एक से एक इंटर रिलेटेड है, क्योंकि सिर्फ एग्रीकल्चर एक रहेगा और बाद में अगर हमारे पास सेकेंडरी या टर्शियरी सेक्टर नहीं है तो भी नहीं चलेगा, क्योंकि एग्रीकल्चर के जो प्रोडक्ट है उसको हमको फिनिश गुड्स में चेंज करना जरूरी है, तो फिनिश प्रोडक्ट में कन्वर्ट करने के लिए हमको फैक्ट्रीज चाहिए, फिर उसके बाद उसको कंज्यूमर तक सप्लाई करने के लिए हमको ट्रांसपोर्टेशन चाहिए, तो इसलिए प्राइमरी के साथ सेकेंडरी और टर्शियरी सेक्टर का भी इंटरकनेक्शन जरूरी है. सो हम बोल सकते हैं कि ये इंटरडिपेंडेंट है. तो ये 2 क्वेश्चन हो गए. फिर उसके बाद डू यू एग्री दैट एग्रीकल्चर इन इंडिया टेक प्लेस इन अनऑर्गेनाइज सेक्टर. ये भी हमने डिस्कस कर लिया है कि एग्रीकल्चर जो है वो अनऑर्गेनाइज सेक्टर है, क्योंकि कोई फिक्सेशन नहीं है, कोई वर्किंग आवर्स का फिक्सेशन नहीं है, और मोस्टली फैमिली मेम्बर्स एंगेज होते हैं, उसके बाद फिर वो मनी लेंडर वगैरह पे डिपेंड होते हैं, लोन्स लेते हैं, कोई उनको वीक ऑफ नहीं होता है, तो ये सारे एग्जांपल्स देके तुम लिख सकते हो कि ये एक अनऑर्गेनाइज सेक्टर है. फिर उसके बाद है नेक्स्ट. How far it is correct to say that the several services which cannot be provided by private sector can be provided by the public sector. कुछ बहुत सारे ऐसे सर्विस है जो कि प्राइवेट सेक्टर हमको नहीं देता लेकिन पब्लिक सेक्टर देता है. ठीक है, तो इसके लिए तुमको बताना होगा रेलवेज के बारे में, फिर ऑल इंडिया इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ मेडिसिन मेडिकल साइंस एम्स. ठीक है, हमने इसमें 3 पढ़े थे कि हम लोगों को एक रेलवेज जो है, और फिर उसके बाद मेडिकल फैसिलिटी, और इन्होंने यहाँ पे 3 एग्जाम्पल दिए हैं. रेलवेज जो है प्राइवेट सेक्टर हमको रेलवेज की फैसिलिटी नहीं प्रोवाइड करवा सकता है. फिर उसके बाद है एम्स ऑल इंडियन इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ मेडिकल साइंस प्रोवाइड द क्वालिटी ऑफ हेल्थ सर्विस विच कैन नॉट बी प्रोवाइडेड बाय द प्राइवेट सेक्टर. फिर नेशनल थर्मल पावर कॉरपोरेशन NTPC to provide electricity at the lower cost rate was the main objective of the government. So government is providing electricity at the low cost through NTPC. फिर नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. हाँ, यहाँ के पेज के हमारे सारे कंप्लीट हो गए हैं. डिस्क्राइब द रोल प्लेड बाय. हाँ, नरेगा का फुल फॉर्म बता सकते हो? व्हाट इज द फुल फॉर्म ऑफ नरेगा? विवेक, नरेगा का फुल फॉर्म बताओ. फुल फॉर्म ऑफ नरेगा. So it's National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. Repeating once again, N National, R Rural, E Employment, G Guarantee, A Act. क्योंकि ये 100 डेज का गारंटी रूरल एक्ट हमको प्रोवाइड कर रहा है कि रूरल पीपल को 100 डेज का एम्प्लॉयमेंट मिलना चाहिए, तो इसलिए नेशनल एम्प्लॉयमेंट गारंटी एक्ट. इम्प्रूविंग द एम्प्लॉयमेंट सिचुएशन इन इंडिया, तो इसके बारे में लिखना है. ये तुम ऑलरेडी लिख सकते हो कि 100 डेज का एम्प्लॉयमेंट मतलब पर ईयर उनको प्रोवाइड करना है, और इसके लिए जो पीपल है दे विल बी गेटिंग नेशनल, गांधी नहीं है, गारंटी, नेशनल गारंटी रूरल एम्प्लॉयमेंट एक्ट. नेशनल रूरल एम्प्लॉयमेंट गारंटी एक्ट. गलत हुआ, वापस रिपीट कर रही हूँ, बताओ. एन माने हो गया नेशनल, नरेगा, आर रूरल, ई फॉर एम्प्लॉयमेंट, जी फॉर गारंटी, ए फॉर एक्ट. सुना? नेशनल रूरल एम्प्लॉयमेंट गारंटी एक्ट. Okay, so how describe the role played by the NREGA, improving the employment situation in India. So it is providing 100 days of employment per year for the person in every household in the rural area. Next question, which was It was stated in the village of it was started in the village 200 districts and has now been extended to the village in over 600 districts. So जब ये शुरू हुआ था 200 districts में शुरू हुआ था और अभी more than मतलब more than 600 districts को cover कर चुका है. 1/3 of the total work is reserved for the women. Out of those work, 1/3 work is reserved for the women. Thus, to provide employment to the rural people, specifically under the scheme, and thus it has helped in reducing the unemployment in India. ठीक है, इसमें से हम लोगों को 1/3 ऑफ वर्क जो है वो वुमेन को प्रोवाइड कर रहा है. 200 डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स को ऑलरेडी मतलब 200 डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स के साथ शुरू हुआ था, अभी मोर देन 600 डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स कवर कर चुका है. 1/3 एम्प्लॉयमेंट वुमेन को प्रोवाइड करने के कारण इस स्कीम के अंडर अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट काफ़ी हद तक कम हुआ है. नेक्स्ट, वर्कर्स आर एक्सप्लॉयटेड इन अनऑर्गेनाइज सेक्टर. एक्सप्लेन. तो जब अनऑर्गेनाइज सेक्टर होता है तो वर्कर्स का एक्सप्लॉयटेशन क्यों होता है? क्योंकि वहाँ पे कोई मतलब ऑर्गेनाइज्ड स्कीम नहीं होता है. दे नेवर गिव एनी अपॉइंटमेंट लेटर, नो वर्किंग आवर्स फिक्स्ड आर देयर, देन नो सैलरी फिक्सेशन इज देयर, फॉर एक्स्ट्रा आवर्स दे आर नेवर पेड. तो इस तरह से जितना मर्जी उनसे काम करवाते हैं, छुट्टियाँ नहीं देते हैं, सैलरी टाइम पे नहीं देते हैं, अनहाइजीन कंडीशन पर उनको काम करना पड़ता है, वो जैसा बोल रहे वैसा ही काम उनका करना पड़ता है. सो ऑल दिस पॉइंट्स यू कैन कवर इन दिस आंसर. तो पॉइंट्स के लिए साइड हेडिंग्स बता रही हूँ विच यू कैन एक्सपेंड. लो सैलरी, लॉन्ग वर्किंग आवर्स, टेम्पररी जॉब, नो फैसिलिटी एंड बेनिफिट्स. नो फैसिलिटी एंड बेनिफिट, temporary jobs, long working hours and low salary. So you can expand those points. फिर नेक्स्ट है डिस्क्राइब द हिस्टोरिकल चेंज. ये क्वेश्चन भी हमने कर लिया है. हिस्टोरिकल चेंज कैसे हुआ है? पहले प्राइमरी सेक्टर ज़्यादा था, बाद में सेकेंडरी सेक्टर बढ़ा और अब जो है टर्शरी सेक्टर ज़्यादा हो चुका है. नेक्स्ट, हाउ आर द 3 सेक्टर्स इंटरडिपेंडेंट. एक इंटरडिपेंडेंट वाला क्वेश्चन ज़्यादा पूछ रहे हैं और प्राइमरी ऑर्गेनाइज और अनऑर्गेनाइज सेक्टर का डिफरेंस एक ज़्यादा पूछ रहे हैं. विवेक, कुछ और टॉपिक पर डिफिकल्टी है? ऑलमोस्ट चैप्टर कंप्लीट हो चुका है. बाकी नहीं रहा है कुछ? रिस्पॉन्स कर रहे हो? डेवलपमेंट वाला चैप्टर. अच्छा, दूसरा चैप्टर करना है. ये वाला क्लियर हो गया चैप्टर पूरा? अभी ऑर्गेनाइज अनऑर्गेनाइज फिर 3 सेक्टर के बारे में बताना है, नरेगा के बारे में बताना है और हिस्टोरिकल चेंजेस कैसे आए हैं वो एक बताना है और कैसे सेक्टर्स इंटरडिपेंडेंट है. तो ओवरऑल 5 से 6 क्वेश्चन है जो कि इस चैप्टर से रिलेटेड है. क्लियर हो गया चैप्टर? कुछ बोल नहीं रहे हो? डेवलपमेंट बोल रहे हो? मेंशन एनी 4 कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स ऑफ डेवलपमेंट. एक क्वेश्चन पूछ रही हूँ, मेरे को बताओ, पहले आंसर बताओगे तो मेरे को समझ में आएगा तुमको कितना वो चैप्टर पता है. What term is used for report published by UNDP compares countries based on educational level of people, their health status and per capita income? So what is the term given by UNDP where we compare the countries on the basis of education, health and status and per capita income? HDR आएगा, ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट रिपोर्ट. आई नहीं होगा. HDR, ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट रिपोर्ट. ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट इंडेक्स नहीं है, ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट रिपोर्ट है. Which term is used to used for the report published by the ND. अच्छा मैंने report word नहीं बोला तुमको, इसलिए report आया है. Okay. रिपोर्ट बोलेंगे तो रिपोर्ट आएगा. अगर हम लोग रिपोर्ट ना बोलें, ओके, हाउ मेनी कंट्रीज आर इंक्लूडेड इन HDI? How many countries are included in HDI? Can you answer? How many countries are there in HDI? How many countries are there in HDI? Ranking. It was asked in CBSE 2015. How many countries are there? So it's 177. 177 countries for which 177 countries for which HDI was calculated in Human Development Report 2014. So how many countries are included in HDI? तो आ गया 177. Why does Kerala have low infant mortality rate? Why does Kerala have low infant mortality rate? Infant mortality rate मतलब क्या होता है? Mortality मतलब होता है during birth, ठीक है? Number of babies die during the birth. So why the Kerala has low infant mortality rate? So answer is adequate provision of basic health care and educational facilities along with good infrastructure of health care, because it is providing good health care, education facility and infrastructure for the health care centers. ठीक है, वहाँ पे जो आंगनवाड़ी है या फिर नहीं तो जो मैटरनरी वार्ड है, ये सभी कुछ काफ़ी डेवलप्ड है. सो इन्फेंट मोर्टेलिटी रेट वहाँ पे कम है. Mention any 4 characteristics of development. So you can read this answer. Any 4 characteristics of development. First one, development is linked with that desire to improve. What do you mean by development? Desire to improve. ठीक है, जब मतलब कोई चाहता है कि उसको improve होना है, तो we call it as development. Development involves thinking about the questions and about the way in which we can work towards achieving our desired goal. ओके, सो हियर डेवलपमेंट मतलब हमने कुछ अपना एक डिज़ायर रखा कि मेरे को ऐसा इच्छा चाहिए, मैं ऐसा चाहता हूँ स्टेटस अपना, और उसके लिए जब हम काम करेंगे वी कॉल इट एज डेवलपमेंट. देयर कैन बी डिफरेंट डेवलपमेंट गोल्स फॉर डिफरेंट पर्सन. अब हर के लिए डेवलपमेंट गोल्स अलग अलग होते हैं. ठीक है, जिसके पास अभी खाने का कुछ नहीं है तो वो सोचेगा कि अगर मेरे को 2 टाइम का खाना मिल गया तो मेरे लिए वो डेवलपमेंट हो गया. जिसके पास वो है तो वो सोचेगा कि मेरे को एक घर चाहिए, अगर घर हो गया मतलब मैंने डेवलप कर लिया. कोई और सोचेगा कि मुझे कोई अच्छा जॉब मिल गया तो मेरा डेवलपमेंट हो गया. सो दस द डेवलपमेंट गोल्स फॉर एवरी पर्सन इज डिफरेंट. डेवलपमेंट फॉर वन मे नॉट बी द डेवलपमेंट फॉर द अदर. अभी एक का जो डेवलपमेंट गोल है वो दूसरे, क्योंकि सभी का अलग अलग गोल्स होते हैं, तो एक का जो डेवलपमेंट है वो दूसरे के लिए नहीं हो सकता है. इट मे इवन बी डिस्ट्रक्टिव फॉर अदर. कुछ लोगों के लिए एक का जो डेवलपमेंट है वो दूसरों के लिए डिस्ट्रक्टिव भी हो सकता है. फिर व्हाट डज सस्टेनेबिलिटी ऑफ डेवलपमेंट मीन? सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. फिर यहाँ से डेफिनेशंस को अगर हम देखें तो पर कैपिटा इनकम एंड नेट अटेंडेंस रेशियो, डेफिनेशन वाइज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. व्हाट इज पर कैपिटा इनकम? Per capita income is the total income of the country divided by its total population. Total income divided by total population is called per capita income of the country. It is also called average income. Per capita we can say average income also. Net attendance ratio is the total number of children of age group 14 to 15 attending school. What is net attendance ratio? Net attendance ratio is a total number of people who are total number of children around the age group of 14 to 15 who are attending the school as a percentage of total number of children in the same age group. When we compare them with the total number of students of the same age group, how many are attending, that is called net attendance ratio. विवेक, अभी उसके मैं सेक्टर वाले का तो फोटोज भेज दूंगी, एक बार सारे आंसर्स रीड कर लेना. क्लास एंड कर देती हूँ अभी.